So picture a 5-year-old, maybe 6-year-old kid. First day kindergarten, and at the end of class, you have to get home. And we get walked to the stoplight. We're supposed to cross the street, and there's a chain link fence. 5-year-old kid clinging to the fence for his dear life, won't let go. I don't like change. I'm afraid of it, petrified of it. Can't stand it. That was Farnsworth, and I actually liked Farnsworth. I finally got used to it. But in between my 5th and 6th grade year, it was decided that we would no longer be going to that school. The city council of St. Paul had been predicting that integration was going to be required. There had been several lawsuits that there was white schools, there was black schools, and things weren't equal in either one. And so it was decided that we would integrate. And what that would do is it would take part of my school, Farnsworth, and push it over to Mississippi. And they would take part of Mississippi's kids and move them to our school. And the result was that Farnsworth would be kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, and Mississippi would be 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. I was going into the 6th grade, my brother was going into the 4th grade, my sister was going into probably 1st grade or 2nd grade. We knew this all summer, and I, the guy who doesn't like change, was very worried about this change. We were going to be leaving my comfortable school and going to the projects. The projects were dangerous. I don't know how I knew that. I don't know why I knew that. Whether that was mom that was sharing that, dad, or my friends, or whatever. But we knew that going to the projects was going to be bad. They're going to throw rocks at us. We're going to die. As we got closer, I got more and more scared. My brother loved this thought because we're going to a new school. Farnsworth was brick, and it was old, and it was industrialized, and boring. Mississippi was new, was fresh. It had a different look to it that my brother thought was fascinating. So we had a different way of looking at it. Now, as we get closer, Farnsworth, we could walk to school, but Mississippi, we had to take the bus. And in order to help with the transition, a lot of parents were there to help out with us going from one place to the other. And my mom was one of those that was going to help. So I asked and begged that she would come with my brother and I to Mississippi because we needed the help. We were going to this new school, didn't know anybody. We were going to die without her. But mom was going to go with my younger sister to Farnsworth. So she was going to help her out. I begged and pleaded that she would come with us. To no avail. The day finally arrived, and we got to the bus stop, got on the bus with some of our friends, went to Mississippi. Turned out it wasn't that bad. Probably the worst part was that I have my Scooby-Doo lunchbox that I brought with me all year, many years to Farnsworth. It was filled with my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, my apple, and my chocolate milk. And at Mississippi, or at Farnsworth, I had a place to put my lunchbox after lunch. But at Mississippi, there wasn't a place to put it. So we went to lunch, and after lunch we had recess, and there was no place for me to put my lunchbox. And what I did is I stayed by the door, holding my lunchbox, because I didn't want it to get kicked, didn't want it to get scratched or lost. So I just hung on to it. And I watched the other kids play, watched them run around, and there were no rocks. Nobody got hurt. Everybody was safe. It was great. Next day, I packed my lunch, my sandwich, my apple, in a paper bag. I left Scooby-Doo at the house. Had lunch, put my paper bag in my pocket so I could use it again, and went out and played. That was the greatest year of all. I loved that year at Mississippi. For all that pain, all that fear, I loved it. Every other transition since then has been tough for me. Going to junior high, I hid behind bushes because there was a kid who was going to make me eat raw eggs when I went to school. Going to senior high was terrible, even though that was just a block away from my house. Going to college was difficult. Medical school, every transition has always been difficult for me. Having kids was a transition too. But as my kids have gotten older, they've actually taught me, you know what, Dad? We're not going to die. We're okay. And transitions are still awful. I get the butterflies. I get the fear. Get the dry mouth. But I realize that I'm going to be okay. Most of these transitions turn out to be not so bad. And they're a lot of fun sometimes. And I'm not dead yet. So I welcome that feeling. I welcome those butterflies, knowing that that's another transition, another way for me to learn, another way for me to have a new piece of my life. So bring it on. I like those butterflies.